Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is March 23rd of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage a Russian military offensive targeting Ukraine, Eastern Europe, and/or Greater Europe on the morning of March 24th of 2026, specifically to spawn a second global biological pandemic and/or trigger World War III. So, as I've detailed in these videos ad nauseum, the CIA has basically developed a shadow army consisting of roughly 150,000 Ukrainian troops, which have allegedly perished in the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war. And it appears that these troops will be used in some form or fashion on the date of March 24th of 2026, specifically to trigger World War III, likely featuring an epic false flag wearing Russian or Belarusian uniforms. The notion that the CIA has developed a shadow army of Ukrainian, essentially mercenaries, is corroborated by the fact that the date of March 24th marks exactly 105 days since a Royal Air Force paratrooper named George Hooley died in an accident while training Ukrainian armed forces in Ukraine. And so the notion that these troops, where are they going to be commit an airborne assault? So they're obviously being trained for some sort of incursion from the air, and which begs the question why? Because the Russian troops are basically across the border in their own country. So unless they're going to go behind them, which would be Russia proper, it doesn't make any sense that Ukrainian troops are being trained for a massive airborne assault. Consequently, this suggests that these troops will be airlifted behind NATO lines or behind Russian lines on the Russo-NATO border, spanning from Finland down into Ukraine. This notion is corroborated by the fact that the date of March 24th marks exactly 189 days since the CIA staged Operation ZAPAD-26 in Belarus, featuring 150,000 Russian troops executing a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear exercise back on September 12th through the 16th of 2025. The word Zapad, translated into Russian, means west, and this confirms, albeit in a de facto manner, that this impending false flag attack using this shadow army of Ukrainian soldiers is going to be used as a false flag Russian incursion into Europe. So a future scenario in which roughly 150,000 Ukrainian troops dressed in Russian uniforms cross the NATO border into Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, or Ukraine, or possibly even Germany, the Czech Republic, or Estonia is a realistic scenario. Coincidentally, the amount of dead Ukrainians in the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war is roughly 140,000, according to Wikipedia. It's the latest statistics. So this group of shadow military mercenaries, if you will, is roughly the same size as the aforementioned Zapad 2025. Also, the date of March 24th marks exactly 49 months that the CIA staged the Russian invasion of Ukraine back on February 24th of 2022. Of course, the number 49 equates to DI as a die. It also marks exactly 1,489 days, and this has the 419 numerology, which is found in the Swiss Constitution of Switzerland, which was 419, April 19th of 1878. It also has the 81 numerology, which is the de facto birthday of Switzerland, August 1st, Swiss National Day, and it has the 14 numerology, which is found in the motto of Switzerland, all for one, one for all, and of course it has, the 49 numerology. reflecting the number of months it's been since the incursion of Ukraine. Also, the date of March 24th marks exactly 1,651 days since the CIA staged ZAPAD-26, which was also 150,000 Russian troops in Belarus back on September 10th through the 15th of 2021. And of course, 1651 has the 16 numerology, which is found in the logo of the CIA with the 16-pointed star. Also, the date of March 24th marks exactly 4,415 days since the CIA staged the Russian incursion into Crimea, Ukraine, back on February 20th of 2014. And of course, the number 44 equates to DD as in dead and died, because this impending attack by Ukrainian troops posing as Russian troops is going to basically kill Europe, because the United States is going to, and NATO nations are going to instantly attack Russia. Russia's going to return fire, and we're likely going to have some sort of mutually assured destruction scenario commence. And this notion is corroborated by the fact that the date of March 24th marks exactly 5,069 days since Vladimir V. Putin became president of Russia back on May 7th of 2012, I should say. And of course, the 69 numerology is found in the nuclear attacks of Hiroshima and Nagasaki back on August 6th and August 9th of 1945. And that's not a coincidence, because this impending attack on the morning of March 24th of 2026 is specifically designed to trigger nuclear World War III. So exactly how this is going to manifest in reality is not known. So we have basically 150,000 Ukrainian troops. They're going to either dress them up in Russian uniforms or Belarusian uniforms, because that's where the drill was held with the 150,000 troops of Russia exercising CBRN exercise in Belarus. So they've done this twice. And so this suggests that in fact this group is going to be used, these Ukrainian soldiers are going to be used in a chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear event, posing as Russian soldiers, likely coming out of Belarus. So Belarus borders Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, and Ukraine. So that's likely the launching point. And then from Latvia, they'll likely go into Estonia, and from Poland into Germany and the Czech Republic. So this is going to be the launching point from Belarus, because then it will make it look like the Russians actually were practicing for this exact invasion of Europe, which is what you would do if you were going to invade Europe. You'd get as far west as possible, and then you'd mass troops on that border, and then you'd pour in the middle of the morning, or the early morning before dawn breaks. So that's what they're planning on doing. Also, it's imperative to note that the date of March 24th, the number 24 equates to the letter X, which is known internationally as a symbol of death, and that is why the war, the latest iteration thereof, started on the 24th, because when you take two X's, so this war in Ukraine started on February 24th of 2022, and this is March 24th of 2026. So the 24 and the 24, when you take two X's and you put them together, it forms a hexagram, which is the Star of David, which is coincidentally found on the flag of Israel. And so the Israeli Air Force may be giving an airlift to the Ukrainian troops to basically stage a false flag attack, because if you follow the news, everybody knows that Ukraine is desperately trying to sucker the United States into World War III with Russia. And thus far it has not happened, but in the aftermath of this attack, that would in fact happen. So exactly how this is going to play out, obviously not known, but the most likely scenario is that the CIA does what I previously mentioned, dresses up these roughly 140,000 or 50,000 Ukrainian troops, which allegedly died in the Russo-Ukrainian war, which this notion is corroborated by the fact that we have more war footage from the Vietnam War than we do of people getting killed and civilians getting killed than we do of the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war. We have no footage of I have never seen, and I'm on the news every day. Every day I'm watching the news. I have yet to see aside from a few missile strikes coming into cities, from a few drone strikes where you see a little blimp across the screen and then it blows up, I have yet to see a Ukrainian soldier get killed by a Russian and a Russian killing a Ukrainian soldier. Just aside from videos, which could be deep fake, we don't know. But despite the fact that every drone has a camera and every cell phone has a camera, we have virtually no footage of what's going on in Ukraine, except for this drone war that seems to be going nowhere. So I say that because these 150,000 troops are going to be dressed up in Russian or Belarusian uniforms and commit some sort of an attack. There's also the possibility that these 150,000 troops will be airlifted into Moscow as some sort of a military storming attack to assassinate Russian President Vladimir Putin. That's a possibility. Another realistic possibility is that these troops are used to decapitate or to Putin, as mentioned, or to storm European capitals as part of a broader, larger Russian attack on Europe. So they may stage an incursion on the ground from Belarus into multiple nations, and then they'll stage a storming attack using special forces to secure Capitol buildings in Warsaw, in Berlin, in Vienna, in London, in Brussels, etc., etc., etc. There's also the possibility that they will use these Ukrainian troops to attack U.S. military bases under the guise of a Russian attack, because a person that is not fluent in either of these languages, which are very, very, very similar, they cannot tell the difference between a Ukrainian-speaking Russian or a Russian-speaking Russian, because there's only a slight dialect difference from what I understand. So these troops could pass off as Russian soldiers, and they're brothers essentially, because Ukraine used to be part of Russia since its inception. Also, so they may attack Moscow, they may attack European capitals, they may attack United States Armed Forces military bases in Europe, such as Ramstein Air Force Base, just to name one, or NATO bases. And or they may stage a full-scale cross-border incursion after being airlifted by likely the Israeli Air Force or possibly the Royal Air Force behind enemy lines. They also could use these troops to attack Russia, so they could drop them behind the Russian line, and then it would look like, because they're coming out of Germany, Estonia, Latvia, it would look like a NATO attack on Russia. So that would obviously start World War III too. Also, lastly, the date of March 24th marks 1,327 days since the CIA staged Operation Breaking Dawn, which was the activation of 25,000 Israeli defense forces. So these Israeli defense forces may be working in tandem to commit this attack, because we have the Jewish Zionist named Vladimir Zelensky in Ukraine, we have a Jewish Zionist named Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, and the CIA is Jewish in Switzerland, and so it's highly likely that they would use these war criminals to launch this particular attack. And of course, the number 1327 has the number 37, which 3 times 7 is 777. That's found in the Tetragram of Yahweh, which is the highest God in Judaism. So, just to recap, some sort of Russian military offensive targeting Europe is expected on March 24th. This could be a full-scale airborne assault targeting one or more NATO or European Union nations. It may be a storming attack targeting European capital cities. Maybe some sort of attack on United States Armed Forces related military installations in Europe, and or it may be going the other way, where they use these troops to attack Russia under the guise of some sort of massive NATO preemptive attack on Russia, possibly featuring a storming attack targeting the Kremlin. So obviously, what is imperative to note about this is that this impending attack is specifically designed to assassinate Vladimir Putin as pretext for a political power vacuum in Moscow, designed to be filled by a hardline communist dictator that's slated to invade Ukraine and nuke the United States. It's also designed to spawn a second global biological pandemic, so they will likely claim that during this attack, some sort of weaponized biological contagion was released, and or it's designed to trigger World War III, possibly in aftermath of the invocation of Article 4 or Article 5, in which a NATO nation is attacked, and therefore all nations must respond. So that's what they're going for here, is they're basically trying to create the pretext for an official declaration of war against the Russian Federation. And that appears to be slated to transpire on Tuesday, March 24th of 2026. So obviously if that happens, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.